Welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori, and we have quite a treat today because once again, we have Lynn and Pia on from Vision54. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
How are you? Thank you so much. So we're on location today. We came to your facility in Scottsdale, Arizona at Talking Stick Golf Club. Tell us, because this is fairly new. I mean, less than a year old?
Yeah.
Tell us about the vision that you had for this facility, because before you were still at Talking Stick, but this is, again, brand new. I'm sure you guys had something to do with the design and the production of it. So tell us what the whole experience was like.
Yeah, we get so blessed that the tribal community wanted to invest. So we have an academy building here. And so we have bays, we have, pergola outside and such easy access to the range and the short game. And we have conference rooms. So we can do so many trainings here. So we just really happy that Talking Stick, they want to invest in it. So we have club fitting here. We have different teachers, and we can have our headquarters here. But before, we only were outside, and we had to shuttle people for the bathroom and, enormously much time every day to bring out tents and equipment. And now we have everything right here. So our operation is so much easier.
Yeah.
And we can do so much more.
Yeah.
It's nice to not to have that fluid infrastructure every day where if the wind comes up, the tents blow down.
Yeah.
This is lovely. And we're really grateful.
And your training, all the different types of training you have in-person training, you have remote training, you have self-coaching.
Yep.
Did anything change about how you ran your camps once you had this beautiful facility? Other than the going back and forth, like did your camps expand? What are you guys currently offering?
We can just actually, like you said, we can actually do more if we want. And it's much calmer because we don't have to worry so much about the external conditions. So we can just be more creative since we can set up so much more stations, even indoors, for all the different reasons. So the possibilities for the future is enormous. But to start out with now is just the programs we have with some tweaking are just much better quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I was going to say with the club fitting right here, and as Pia said, we have good friends that are also teaching here. Yeah, it's more collaborative now.
Yeah.
So it's super nice that way.
I love that.
And we have a really nice conference room. So I know Pia and I have thought we could even do some corporate things that we haven't been able to do before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you guys just finished a 3-day camp, and that's actually my favorite way to learn is to come to a camp and be kind of like fully immersed and present for 3 days on working on your golf game. Can you kind of walk us through what those 3 days are all about and what someone that would sign up, maybe it's their first time doing a camp, like what it would be all about?
Yeah.
And who's it for too? Is it?
Yeah.
Well, we have several programs. I'll let you speak to that, Pia.
But, so we have the ones that mostly juniors come or elite players come or more newer golfers come. So we have for all the different ranges. But what they all include is that we spend time learning mostly about the non-technical fundamentals because we believe in that the blend of learning technical skills, but together with the non-technical, because you need those to learn how to play the game of golf. So, but many come to us because they've never learned that. So no matter if you're new to the game or tour player, that's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn it by doing a lot of exercises and then talk, debrief, some presentation, and then practice. And every day we always go on the golf course because we think the best learning happens on the golf course, and we don't spend enough time exploring on the course where it matters. So we, at least 6 holes or more, we're always out there with exercises and coaching for everybody to transfer it because we want everybody to play better on the course and enjoy the game more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've had actually a couple clients here recently, and I have to say we ran into a couple of them as we were setting up for today, and they're literally glowing. Like they are fully immersed in this game, and it just seems like their passion for it is at an all-time high. Like they probably feel just more empowered and more motivated to improve their game. That is the impression I get when I talk to them afterwards. Like they're just glowing.
And as you said, Tori, with the immersion, like when they're here for 3 days, we can go so much deeper into some of the science behind the performance skills or essential playing skills, we call them, or human skills, as we call them. And we can go into that. And for many of them, they're like, new learnings. Like maybe they've spent a lot of time learning things on their golf swing or learning new shots and different things with technique, but this is like a whole different level of learning for many of them. Yeah. So I love to hear that they were glowing, but I think they do become empowered because they realize there's so many more things they can do to help their game that they haven't been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously. I think, it also makes me happy when you said they seem more empowered, because one of our big goals is for help them be better at coaching themselves. Like our goal is always to coach ourselves out of a job and empower them to be more their own best coaches. So I think what happened, and I think with them, is they felt empowered because like I'm in charge more than I knew. And I know much more my own game plan. And like one of the ladies, she said yesterday, you're going to write down and tell me like all the things you think I should do. And then I explained today, do you know now that why we don't do that? We want you to have figured out.
Yes.
And if we don't like what you figured out or think things are missing, we're going to add to it. But the thing is that you figure out your own game plan, and we're there to support you with that.
Yes, absolutely. And those are kind of the things that we're going to touch on today. So today we're going to go through Play Your Best Golf in 2024.
Yay.
Okay, we want you playing your best golf next year for sure. And that's just the start of it. And we're going to be covering 8 essentials that you guys cover in your book, Play Your Best Golf Now. But before we get into that, I want to hear about your summer. How was your summer? I'm sure you were traveling all over the place. Maybe a highlight from the summer that you can share with us. Maybe some insider things that
we went to the Solheim Cup in Spain, and we're always divided a bit. I mean, we've coached in past years players on both teams. So it was kind of cool that there was a tie, but then the Europeans won. And Pia likes that, being the past captain for Europe. Yeah. So that was a super fun thing.
And for me, it is, of course, travel, but actually spend more time in my home country, Sweden, and actually got to play more golf myself, because usually it's so busy all the time coaching that my own game doesn't get very high priority from being highly competitive and played on tour. So I feel this summer I got to be more friends with my own game and also explore and come up with some new exercises and things, and I like to, both of us like to test it on ourselves first. So there were some really cool discoveries this summer that was good for my game, but it's also be good for our students.
And Lynn, you are a competitive golfer too, correct?
Yeah.
So when you guys, they say if you want to play a lot of golf, don't get into the golf industry. I mean, you're going to play less golf. Now that you are playing less competitive golf, when you get back into it, when you go out there and play around and things might not be as sharp as they used to be, are you able to still enjoy yourself to the max?
Yeah. I mean, that's like a super great question. It's one that we've posed to each other when we've played, because of course I don't hit it as far as I used to. When I played college golf or when I first turned professional. I mean, so if I compare myself to who I used to be, I'm not going to enjoy the game. And I have to compare myself to who I am now. And that doesn't mean I don't want to get better, because I do. But looking back is never a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you can't go back.
And I think it's an extremely good question. And we feel so many of our colleagues are in that position. And it took me quite a long time to go from being a tour player to then enjoy the game. Because first it's a period of time, there's no time to play. But I said, I love this game. But I had to do a total reset and find a new spirit to the game, a new expectations. But sometimes the hardest thing is all the people around you, because I want to play. I want to say that I beat Pia Nilsson, and I want to see how good you are now. And I can feel it's a lot of expectation, not only from me, but from people around me. So I started out playing more with people that let me be just me, and not me showing them something or being out there. I realized I'm not good at coaching and playing. Yeah, I either want to coach or I want to play. But anyway, so it was a big reset and finding the love of the game and playing the way I am now with my body, and also realizing if I play golf now for 59 years and I love to play, but I don't have time to practice, and I have some more limitations. My hips are tighter and all of that. So I realized I'm done working technical on my swing, because there's no time in the world for me to make the changes that's going to hold up on the golf course. And my technique is totally good enough. And I do a little maintenance, my posture and a few things, but fighting, trying to have a perfect swing now with all the myelinations and habituation would make me frustrated as a golfer.
Yeah.
So I come to realize that I have some of this maintenance and I can do more physical things with stretching and some strength, and then be awesome at these other skills.
Yeah.
And then I realized I can play plenty good. It needs to be different mindset and mentality, and not try to be, like Lynn said, how I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say, we just had one of the ladies that just attended our program. She's a high-level CEO, and she never practices, and she will never practice. And she was so encouraged to think, but I can still get better at my game, and I can play better golf, even though I don't have time to practice, nor will I ever probably have time to practice. So it was in the same thing as you said, Pia.
Absolutely.
It was cool.
So you guys are around the best golfers in the world on a regular basis, especially in the summer when you're traveling and coaching in person. What inspires you nowadays?
You start.
Like, what about these amazing golfers out there inspire you?
Oh, wow. Well, I do think, when you look at the elite level of women's golf, it's got better than it was 10 years ago, and certainly better than it was 20 years ago. And it's fun because, when you just look at the level of play, even they're playing this weekend in Naples with in a mixed team event kind of thing. They are better players, and they hit it longer, and more skills.
But what inspires me, and I think it's, if we talk on the women's side now, on the lead side, that for the young stars, it's really challenging because they more than ever are influenced by the social media, and they get bombarded with opinions from not only how they play, but how they look and how they dress. Yes. And many of them are young, becoming really good, and they're young and they haven't really matured into yet who they are. And many of them get very, very lost. And they're expected to do a lot of social media. And, we talk to them a lot, but they haven't formed yet their own values, their own track in life. So what inspires me is when we can support them to find a track that makes them not only play good golf, but I know they're going to be on the path to being healthy human beings.
Yeah.
It can make me cry when I see that. So for some players now, I just know they're on the path. They're going to be healthy human beings. And it seems like the golf is going to be good too. But it's not worth it to only be good if you're miserable.
Yeah.
And that is passionate about me, for me, and I know for Lynn too, to help them with both of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I have to imagine that the social media is almost making them learn these life lessons much faster.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because they are in that public eye much quicker. And especially for the girls.
Yeah. Yes.
The body image and all that goes with it.
Yeah.
It's tough. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. And some of them don't have the support system, how to deal with it. It's not easy.
I can't even.
Yeah.
But from a pure golf lens, don't you think the golf is fantastic?
Oh, yeah.
Right now?
It's so
it's so exciting to watch.
So exciting.
And when you say it's better, the women's golf is more skilled now than 10 years ago. Is that just because there's more women joining the game at a young age? Like more girls are playing and
they're more physically fit and so they're stronger and they hit it further. And
is it incredible to watch? I mean, I had a junior golfer on, Gracie McGovern. I don't know if you're familiar with the name. She's one of the top junior golfers in Arizona. And she was telling me how it's regular to see these girls hit it 290, 300 now. That's incredible.
Yeah. And
That's incredible.
Even we look at the short games and all of that has evolved so much because they're just training and practicing it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's get into kind of the meat of the episode here. Again, we're going to be going through 8 essential playing skills, which are go in depth in your book that you wrote back in 2011, Play Your Best Golf Now. And I wanted to read a little passage from it from Pia, actually, direct one of your quotes, because I feel like it really encompasses what we're going to talk about today and really the whole basis of the book. So you go, I learned that golf is much less about the result and much more about how I manage each shot and manage myself during the round. It is not easy. I find I have to be quite disciplined to manage myself for a complete round. I just found that this book is really kind of the playbook, the instruction book on how to execute what I just said, what you said. So
That's great.
let's start it off with the first essential playing skill, which is leave your golf mind behind, which is the Playbox.
Yes.
So let's get into Playbox, because I think a lot of our listeners have probably heard Playbox, ThinkBox a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's all they've heard is just those terms. So why don't we go into depth on what each is? The Playbox first.
Well, the Playbox is golf.
Yeah.
Meaning that's where golf happens.
It's the queen of the skills.
Yes, it is definitely the queen of all the skills. And it's a very specific state that we need to get into. It's an athletic sensory state that we need to get into that isn't one where, and I'll say what it is not. It's not talking to ourselves anymore about what we're going to do, whether that's talking to ourselves about our swing or talking to ourselves about the outcome we want. It's an athletic sensory state. So it's like all other sports in that you're present in your body making a golf swing.
Yeah. To what Lynn said, it's actually, now if you play tennis or basketball, things are moving and, people just feel and see and they go and they're just sensory. They feel and see and act. They don't talk through their swings in tennis or talk through
because it's moving too
ball.
quickly.
No, exactly.
Right.
So in golf, that's the tricky thing, that it's stationary.
Yeah.
So as a golfer, you have to volitionally create this natural athletic state for every golf shot.
Yeah.
And that's like cool about our game and can be tricky. And usually we say the more smart you are, the harder it becomes. Because we want to control this place. So the Playbox is, Lynn, to find, and every player is different. Some like to feel their tempo. Some like to sense the grip pressure. Some like to see the target. So we want to help them. What is it that is more athletic and sensory based that is good for you and your swing or stroke on the golf course?
Yeah. And then putting it in regards to your routine, your pre-shot routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go a little bit probably into the think box too. But you say that the Playbox should be between around 4 to 7 seconds.
Yep.
So that to me is end of the routine. Is it the routine? Is it your routine? Or is that just when you really release everything and you're swinging?
The way we talk about this now, we've evolved it a little bit from that book, but we call it the performance routine. But it is what you do before the shot, what you do during the shot, which is the Playbox, and then what you do after the shot. So that is your shot routine.
Yeah, or performance routine, we call it. Yeah.
But the pre-shot is, of course, the think box, what you do before you step in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and the Playbox, the way we define it, and so like listeners and viewers, it's as you're done making your decision about the shot and all that, and now you're actually stepping into the shot or the ball, and aiming your club face and aligning. Now that the Playbox has begun. Mm-hmm. So that timing, we start timing as they start walking in.
Yeah. And the reason we don't want it longer is under perceived pressure. That could be, I have a water hazard between me and the green, or someone is watching me. Some perceived pressure. If I spend too long time there, it's so easy to distract yourself and start thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the mind or all that self-talk comes online.
Like, I hope I hit it good. Do I have the right club?
I don't like this lie. Or, is this a club? All those.
What are they going to think about me?
Yeah. Well, and one that I personally am going through right now is that my miss is a hook. Mm. And so I'm really battling that right now. So sometimes even when I'm in my stance and I'm about to hit the ball, like I look down and I think, I am going to hook this ball. I know that's like the worst possible thing to say.
Yeah, but it comes in.
It's like I'm looking at my club and where I feel like I'm aimed and there's nothing but doubt in there. And so
Tori, one of the disciplines, as you used the word earlier, is to recognize that and then step out.
And find something to replace that with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so next essential playing skill, decide and commit. Yeah. Again, this is essentially the think box. So this is really coming before the play box.
Yes.
But what are we doing in the think box essentially?
Well, we're making a decision about the shot. So we're assessing, a decision on the shot club and all the conditions. And it's a decision. Here's what's really important for people to understand. It's a decision that you trust, not the right decision. Like, I'm supposed to hit a 7-wood from here, or I'm supposed to chip from here. No, and you don't feel very good about that chip, then you shouldn't hit that shot. It needs to be a shot that you trust and a decision you go, I've got this. So what we say that you feel a go signal going into the play box.
Yeah. And that's probably we see in today's game because we have so many resources, good numbers. Like I have my watch telling me or gunning it. So, we can get much more accurate with yardage and decision making. But then many forget, like Lynn said, to check in, like, do I actually feel that shot now? Like maybe you're sluggish today, so you should have one club more. Or like, so this listening in is really important. So it's simplified is the shot you're going to hit, be totally decisive about it. Because many times on the golf course, there's going to be doubt. You don't know if the wind is blowing or not blowing, or you're in between clubs, but you need to make up your mind. Yeah. And also listen in. Is this something that I trust right now? And then commitment is that I have the courage to stay with that till the end of the motion. So the commitment is to the decision you make about the shot and what you want to sense in the play box, you commit to that. Because when you do that, you're going to hit more good shots and even misses get tighter.
Yeah.
So that means you can score better with it.
Exactly.
But I think I want people listening and watching this to understand that Think Box has morphed. So now it's become, I'm going to do everything I can before I go into the play box. And it's caused so much slow play, and it doesn't actually help with a better decision.
Yeah.
Or a better go signal or a better commitment. Yeah. I mean, again, with just the camp that we just finished, we had several ladies. I'm like, okay, I want you to be a minimalist. I go, okay, it's like the first time you ever went on a long trip with only a carry-on.
Yeah.
And you had to,
you have to know the essentials.
Just a few things.
The Think Box has got to be carry-on only.
Yes, exactly. No, because we just had that lady. She thought I had to do it. She was stepping off every putt, and she was doing the line, and she was doing aim point, and she was doing this. She said, I always feel stressed on the green. I said, no kidding. You're trying to do so much.
Watching you, right?
Exactly. So we went through like what is actually essential helping you, because the whole point is that you're good in the play box. So if any of these things you could do it, but they're not helpful, let's get the pieces of luggage or pieces of clothing out of that.
Out of that luggage.
Yeah.
I go, so, I know you want to take that dress, but you know what? Let's take it out. But in another, I wanted to say is some people find in their Think Box that they need to get a little more adrenaline. So those who watch, LPGA players, Nasa Hatoyoka does this little bounce. Yeah. That's to get her adrenaline up before she goes into her play box. Some need to actually do the opposite. They need to take a longer exhale and really focus on getting their state calm. So those are things we help players and, with coaching, like what works best for you. So you're in the best state possible before you go to the play box. Because
with just one more addition to that, because very often we can see with the ladies playing more on the forward tees, and if we play with the men, they can just rush. They just go up and hit it without having any decision making, because they feel they're the last one to hit, and then often they're going to be the first one to hit the second shot, and they don't get them space. So for them, it's just like, can you just please take a breath or feel your feet before walking in? You just need to have some like, okay, I'm here, this is my space, and just get the moment. It can just be that breath or feeling your feet, but know that you're actually present to your own shot and not just rushing through it.
Yeah. And actually, you do go into depth in the book about figuring out, do you need that adrenaline or do you need more calmness? And it really made me think about my own game. Like, okay, my best rounds, what was I feeling? What was that day like? What was the round like? What was going on? And it just makes you think about what your surroundings are and how you're feeling that day on those days that you're in complete flow.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to think that when you are playing your best golf, the Think Box Play Box is probably working at its best, right? It has to be.
Yeah, well, it is that. And then, I think everybody gets off track during the round, but it's to be able to know and get yourself back on track again.
Exactly.
So if you know, for example, like more adrenaline is good for me, and maybe you're in the cart in the slow play, and suddenly you lose it, you know what? I need to do like a few jumping jacks because like you can right yourself quicker and then you're going to play your best golf.
Okay, so for you two personally,
Yeah.
what does your think box, play box look like? What are the things that you guys need to be confident on before swinging the golf club?
I'm one of those that want to put a few more things in my carry-on.
Okay. You want to really push the limit.
Well, and it's when
Actually, both in golf and in travel.
That's true. This is a little bit true. And then my think back it gets too slow when I'm not playing well. So I need to have my adrenaline up a little bit, and feel like it's athletic and be very clear, distinct. This is the decision. Let's go. Almost like that transition from think box to play box is like the edge of an airplane and I'm going to go skydiving. Like, okay, I'm jumping. Here we go. So it's much more distinct. And play box for me often is about a rhythm and feeling constant grip pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. How about you?
For me, in the think box, the actual decision is like so easy. I think I played so long. So that's like what club and where I'm going to aim and all that is like, it's just automatic. So I need to put just extra focus on that I am in the state I want to be in. So I want to feel more calm and collected, but I have to feel the calmness inside of me stepping in and just get a few seconds. That's the most important thing. And then in the play box, to have that calm that relates to about 75% tempo, but keep it to the end of the swing because I can sometimes not keep it because I still get too much into the outcome easily. So it's the keeping the calm temper for me, but keep it all the way to the finish. It's most important.
Yeah. And a lot of this, again, is getting feedback from the rounds you're currently playing and seeing how, what works best for you.
Yeah.
Do players have to be intentional with that in every golf round, you think? Or do you think only tournament rounds they should really be gathering feedback from? Or, because that could feel a lot, like overwhelming to people too. Like every round you must, yes.
I mean, you want to notice trends without analyzing.
Okay.
So, you're just kind of noticing like those play boxes are better than these play boxes, in terms of what sensory feels. 75% tempo is better for me than 100%. But you notice, and you just start to notice some trends that, I play better with that without having to, and I really mean this, I don't want players to analyze every shot.
No.
Because that is exhausting.
Yes.
I think that, And sometimes we say just to simplify that at least after you played practice round, or like just go through what are 3 things that I'm really proud of today. Like what is what 3 things that was really good. Maybe it was, I really like how I kept everything to the finish, and then just one thing that you feel could be better for the future.
That's
just
perfect.
keep it simple.
Yeah.
But 3 good ones to 1 better is a really good way that you can do without getting to be overwhelming.
Yeah. And a lot of those ideas we're going to go into depth next. So on to the third essential playing skill, which we're going to get into what you guys call BTT.
Yes.
Balance, tempo, tension. So first up, find your balance. And I also said define your swing. So this is in the book that you go into stories about, you call him Topper. Was that a nickname?
No, it was his nickname, but it was an actual player that we've coached. Yeah. His name was Topper.
So, and it just made me giggle because that is my miss, topping the ball. So I was like, and sometimes when that happens, when you top a ball, it could be almost the same result as having the shanks where you keep topping the ball.
I have never equated Topper's name to Topper until
shoot, there you go. That's where my mind first went. So let's talk about balance.
Yeah.
Find your balance.
Yeah. And the thing is, we go to balance, but you think about the 3 balance and tempo and tension awareness. We have to remember we're dynamic human beings, and the state of our body is what makes us the most variable in golf. And that affects the swing the most, because balance can be good one day and bad another one, or good on the front side and bad on the back side. So it's like, I call it's like French baguette bread, not American Wonder Bread. It's fresh produce.
Yeah.
But we know to have the ability to sense good balance is good no matter what swing philosophy you have. It's the most foundational, actual technical things that you can swing in motion and be sense balance.
Yes.
But since it's this fresh produce is something we want to check up on every day and warm up and hit some shots with feet together on one leg, because we wake up the proprioception in the feet. And for every year that we have another candle on our birthday cake, we need to train it more because the proprioceptions becomes more inactive. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the easiest things to practice and one of the most profound for your golf motion.
Well, and with everyone's swing getting, faster or even slower, I would say balance probably has to get recalibrated.
Yeah. And another thing that happens with people is balance becomes an issue when we say this, they've become a neck up. So, they've got a lot of thoughts going on, or they're a busy person, or have this life outside of golf, and and they need to actually get down into their body, and they need to be able to feel that balance. And personally, I think the golf swing is like all other athletic motions. We need a lower center of gravity. So, feeling balance and training balance and being sensitive to it going stale or, it will never hurt you to train balance. It will only help you.
And in chipping and pitching is incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's interesting that you brought in kind of chipping in the short game too, because I think that my balance is a lot better in the short game. And then the full swing, it's just something I have to constantly work at for sure and pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why many even of our tour players we coach, they have it in every warm-up because it needs the maintenance every day. Just to check up on that it's in good shape.
Yeah.
Or wake it up.
Absolutely.